Aronson, The Social Animal. Social Psychology as a Science. As a social psychologist, the author has learned to think scientifically about things that happen in my social world. It's a useful skill to have, but it can also be disillusioning. Take prison education programs, for example. While reading an article, the author came across a study that showed a lower recidivism rate for prisoners who completed a year of higher education in prison. But, as scientists, we need to ask one vital question: were the prisoners who signed up for the program similar to those who didn't sign up? If they were different at the outset, then it's likely that they would have had a lower rate of recidivism even without the program. Thinking scientifically about the social world can be disheartening. But it gives us the ability to separate fact from fiction and demand that innovative programs be properly evaluated. What is the scientific method? Let's explore the scientific method. The first step is observation. For example, if a rubber ball rolls to the back of a wagon when pulled forward, what's happening? Next, we make a guess and frame it as a testable hypothesis. Then, we design experiments to confirm or disconfirm the hypothesis. If experiments fail to confirm the hypothesis, we give it up. That's the beauty of science. There are no sacred truths. In social psychology, we're investigating the behavior of intelligent, curious, and sophisticated adults. This demands a great deal of art to generate valid and reliable findings. The blending of art and science is what makes social psychology so fascinating. From speculation to experimentation. Laboratory experiments allow experimenters to create a controlled environment to test their hypothesis. However, they can be criticized for being unrealistic and contrived. The initiation experiment conducted by Stanley Milgram and Judson Mills is a great example of a laboratory experiment. It showed that people tend to like things for which they have suffered. Designing and conducting an experiment can be laborious. However, experiments have the advantage of controlling the environment and variables to study the effects of each variable precisely. It's important to be aware of the limitations of laboratory experiments and interpret the results with caution. But when done correctly, they can provide valuable insights into human behavior. The importance of random assignment. Random assignment is a powerful tool that allows researchers to control for extraneous variables. This is crucial for making causal inferences. Take the example of studying the effect of marrying intelligent women on men's happiness. Without random assignment, we can't be sure that the results are due to the independent variable being studied. Random assignment eliminates alternative explanations. This means that all characteristics are randomly distributed across the conditions. Here's another example. Researchers found that children who watched a violent video showed more aggression afterward than those who watched an athletic event. Random assignment is one of the key advantages of the experimental method. It allows researchers to make causal inferences and be more confident in their results. The challenge of experimentation in social psychology. Control is necessary for isolating independent variables and eliminating extraneous variables. However, too much control can make the experiment unrealistic and uninspiring for participants. Impact is essential for getting participants to take the experiment seriously and behave naturally. But too much impact can make it difficult to control the situation. There are two types of realism in social psychology experiments. Experimental realism refers to the extent to which the experiment is involving and meaningful to the participants. Mundane realism refers to the extent to which the experiment is similar to everyday life. Deception is often necessary in social psychology experiments to prevent biased results. For example, the Milgram obedience experiment showed that people are surprisingly likely to obey authority figures, even when asked to do something harmful. So, the challenge of experimentation in social psychology is finding the right balance between control and impact, and realism and deception. It's a delicate balance, but necessary for valid results. Ethical problems. Social psychologists are faced with an ethical dilemma. We must balance the need for scientific inquiry with the dignity of humans and their right to privacy. Some experimental techniques, such as deception and procedures that cause pain or discomfort, raise more ethical concerns than others. Even when deception is not used, experiments can have a powerful impact on participants that can be difficult to anticipate. Social psychologists must carefully consider the potential benefits and risks of each experimental procedure before conducting it. The ethics of an experiment are often seen as less problematic when the results tell us something pleasant about human nature than when they tell us something we'd rather not know. The obedience experiment by Stanley Milgram is a good example of an experiment that was ethically questionable, but also produced important scientific findings. In the end, it is up to each individual social psychologist to decide whether the ends of their research justify the means. As social psychologists, we have a responsibility to prioritize the well-being of our participants. Let's take a look at 5 guidelines that we should keep in mind when conducting experiments. First and foremost, we should avoid procedures that cause intense pain or discomfort. We need to ensure that our participants are not put in harm's way. Secondly, we should give participants the option to quit if they become too uncomfortable. We need to respect their autonomy and prioritize their well-being. If possible, we should use alternative procedures to deception. We need to ensure that our participants are not misled or harmed in any way. After the experiment, we should spend time with participants to explain everything and protect their dignity. We need to ensure that they are not left with any negative feelings or experiences. Lastly, we should only conduct experiments that are worthwhile and well organized. We need to ensure that the benefits of the experiment outweigh any potential risks. In conclusion, social psychologists owe a lot to the participants who allow us to study their behavior. We need to prioritize their well-being and ensure that they are treated with respect and dignity. Ethical problems. Social psychologists must weigh the ethical implications of their research, including the possibility that their findings could be misused. For example, powerful techniques of social influence could be used to manipulate people for political or commercial purposes. Social psychologists have a responsibility to educate the public about how these techniques might be used and to remain vigilant against their abuse. However, they should also continue to do research aimed at furthering our understanding of human social behavior.